We just got back from the Amish and from a Mennonite grocery store, and I'm going to show you what we bought. Low pantry, winter emergency. The pantry shelves are looking a bit bare. I haven't seen it this empty in a long time. The meat locker is looking a little bare too. Most of this is for Roscoe that you're looking at now. Even our dry goods are looking a little bare, but the jams, jellies, and juices are full. We're getting low on our elderberry as well. As many of you know, our garden is pretty much done with tomatoes, and we wanted some slicing tomatoes. So I picked up 5 of these beautiful tomatoes from one of the Amish farmers. And now I've got enough here to get us through a week of just having a slice of tomato in the evening. And those are going to be ripening on our counter. So I'm going to actually set these back here. But before I do that, my husband absolutely fell in love with this pickle. It's called Sunshine and Shadow Pickles. It's actually got cucumbers and yellow squash in it, and it is so delicious. One of the ladies makes this, and he fell in love with that, so we buy that. We paid $5 a quart. Not too bad. Another lady had red cinnamon pickles. Now, I've never had these that I can remember, and I said, well, I want to try those. So we're going to try those and see how they are. And she also had some homemade barbecue sauce. Now, the pickles and the barbecue sauce was each $4 a jar for a pint-sized jar. So we got 2 of the barbecue sauce and 1 of the pickles. And then we picked up some pickled okra for a friend. I don't care for it. My husband doesn't care for it. But it was $6. And they will enjoy that, I'm sure. So I've got all those taken care of. We're going to just move these tomatoes out of the way. And the first thing we picked up was bell peppers. Now these were 75 cents each. And I like having the colors when I can get them. And so these are going to be cut up and put into our freezer. Or I might make some stuffed bell peppers one night with a little bit of hamburger and some rice. So here are our bell peppers. And those will go into the refrigerator. Now I've still got room in that bowl. So I've got some cucumbers. Now the cucumbers didn't look great, but I found some that were firm. And I might make some cucumber water to help me break up all this mielda that's been going on in my body with the bronchitis and asthma, remnants of the sinus infection that we had. Oh, I got a couple more bell peppers I missed. And I probably could have got a smaller bowl. May have to go change out the other bowl. So this is yellow squash. And we're going to be eating a good healthy meal this week with maybe some stuffed peppers, some sliced cucumbers, and some yellow squash. And I'm trying to save the bag because these fit our trash cans in our bathrooms really well. And the one that we keep in our living room. So I'm trying to salvage the bag so that we can reuse it. So I really like the smaller squash. I don't really care for the bigger squash, but we got what they had. So we're going to be putting all of this in the refrigerator until I can get to it this week. 2 more there. And that will make a nice mess of squash or maybe a squash dressing. And that's the main part of the vegetables. Let me go grab a bowl for this bag, and we'll be right back. And I do, when my bags are wet, I just flip them inside out and allow them to dry. So I've grabbed a bowl here, and these are jalapenos. My husband loves jalapenos, and he'll probably be eating these. But I do like to make hot poppers with them, and we usually try to go shoot for the bigger jalapenos when we do that. But I've got 18 jalapenos for him to munch on with supper during the week. We also went to our discount grocery in Selmer, and these are 2-pound bags of black-eyed peas for $1.29 a bag. And we picked up 2 of those. I'm going to get those into a jar real quick because I like to get everything jarred up and out of the way when I possibly can. So let's get that done really quick. I grab a pair of scissors. Yes, we're still stockpiling, and we never know what's going to happen. Right now, we've got states that are having to boil water and being told not to drink the water and all kinds of crazy stuff because the water system has been hacked. So we like to keep dry beans on hand. We also like to keep them canned on hand, just in case, you know. We want to be careful and vigilant with our food. Let me go grab another jar. And I always put a bay leaf or an oxygen absorber in my jars when I don't use the sealer to seal them. And I'm just going to throw a bay leaf on top of those, grab some lids, and get them labeled. We'll talk about this in just a minute. I'm just labeling them with the word oats and the month and the year on these, and I do this with all of our dry goods. Do I think that we're going to have a grid down situation in the USA? Possibly, since the water has been hacked. Our grid is old and it can go down. It always pays for us to be prepared. This I have never bought before, but it's organic jasmine rice. And I'm going to be boiling this up and getting it bagged up and put into the freezer. I use white rice and brown rice for Roscoe's food, but if I put it in the freezer and then reheat it, the carb structure changes and my sugar shouldn't spike as much. We paid $1.49 for this. So that was a great deal. And both of these bags have the same thing in them. Tomato products. That bag has to go in the trash because it has a hole in it. But I picked up some petite diced tomatoes. Now most of these are scratch and dent cans, but none of these cans are dented. This is put out by Red Gold. And they're non-GMO certified. This is tomato puree. Again, no dents in the can. And the ingredients are tomato puree, tomato paste from ripened tomatoes, and citric acid. And I picked up some whole plum tomatoes with no salt added. Again, I look for the cans that have few or no dents. None of these cans were dented this time. I was really impressed with that. And I will date these. It looks like 2028. So this is another can of tomato puree. No dents or anything. Another can of tomato puree. And the last can of tomato puree. And y'all, no dents in the can. 3 for $1. And these are 1 pound, 13 ounce cans. Or, you know, a big can of tomatoes. Now this one does have a very, can y'all see that? Very slight dent. But you want to avoid dents on the rims because the seals can break. And you don't want them really bad dented. So there, it has another little dent right there. But that's okay. So we know that these are going to be good for us. I will mark this one to go first. And I simply write the date or the last 2 digits of the date on the top of my cans. And that way, I know which cans to use first. And I'm actually going to put a little X on this one. So I know that that one is to be used first for us consuming it. We try to avoid getting groceries in the grocery store if we can buy them at a discount grocery and get them much cheaper. And we're going to save them from going into a landfill somewhere. We're definitely going to do that. What are ways that you're trying to save money? So our tomatoes were $1.50 a pound. Some of them were $2 a pound. It just depends on where you get them at. The squash was, I think, $1 a pound, $1.20 a pound. The cucumbers were $1 a pound, and the peppers were by the number of peppers that you purchased. I think it was 5 for $1 or 10 for $1, something like that. Not expensive at all at the Amish. And I'm super excited to have groceries that are shelf stable to put on our shelves. Some that are fresh that we can cook this week. And then dry goods that will be for another day. Our Mennonite haul were whole oats. And of course I'm going to get all of this jarred up for you and get it onto our pantry shelf once everything is labeled. So just sit back and enjoy as we get everything put into jars, and let me talk to you a little bit.
2026 has been a very, very tough year for us with injuries and so many things happening. And of course, being sick for 3 weeks didn't help us. There's the popcorn. We are trying our best to get some food put into our pantry that is shelf stable. Of course, I'm going to label everything and make sure that we have all the information that we need. Now I am labeling for some mullein tea to know exactly what it's good for. And y'all, we just try to keep on adding to our pantry so that we can have a little bit of variety. Although this year, I believe, or I should say this winter, we're going to be eating a lot of beans. Beans is a staple around our homestead, and we both like eating them, so that's really not a huge issue, but it's going to cut back on all the other vegetables from the garden that we normally would put up. Our garden just did not get put in, and we didn't get as many tomatoes as we had planned on, although the freezer is full of tomatoes right now, and we're waiting on our survival seed plants to produce and some jalapenos for cowboy candy. So I've got my label all made up, and the mullein tea really came in handy because our Amish lady that makes the mullein syrup was completely sold out. A lot of people were getting sick and going to her to get the mullein tea and the elderberry tea, and she actually only had 2 jars left on her shelf of the elderberry.
I'm really trying to get over the bronchitis and asthma part of this mess. A mullein is an excellent source for respiratory, digestive health, immune boosters, antiviral, anti-inflammatory, antibacterial. It is an expectorant, which helps you cough up the crud, and it contains vitamin C. And I always label my medicinals so that I know exactly what this will do. And I take a teaspoon in my little tea ball that I use when I make my tea, and I'll put a teaspoon of this. I'm also using a bronchial tea that I have. It's called Bronte. Right now, I'll take that in a bag, and I'll throw in about 6 or 8 cloves, because cloves is also another way to have an expectorant. And I boil it on the stove. I let it steep for about 15 to 20 minutes. Let it cool, and then I jar it up and I put it in my refrigerator. So this is enough here for maybe one more glass of hot tea, and all I do is just heat it up and drink it like it is. And my little headscarf is coming off, so I'm going to take it off. I'm done messing with, putting dry goods away, and I didn't want hair in it. So that's why I wear the headscarf on my head. We also pick up some fried pies because we like their pies, and they're not real sweet. And we keep them in the refrigerator for when we do need a little boost. And we pick up a cake once a week to take down from the Amish to take to our church on Sunday morning and serve with the breakfast donuts and things that they serve at our church. And I think a lot of people look forward to that. We picked up some lunch meat from Ada's, and that's our haul for the week. We have done everything that we had planned on doing, and y'all, I haven't done a haul like this in probably a while, but I wanted to share with you that we buy things that are shelf stable, we buy things that are fresh and in season, and then we buy canned goods that we know that are not going to hurt us when they're cheap and they're not dented. So we have done quite a haul this week. Let me know in comments what you think about our haul. And just know that black-eyed peas are always in season, not just on New Year's Day. Popcorn is our favorite treat around our homestead, and it's still fairly inexpensive, and we do buy it at Ada's, and it is a cheap, frugal way to have some crunch, butter, salt, you know, or the seasonings if you like those seasonings on your salt. And then we like the whole oats. We like whole oats for breakfast, and we like them for different other things, and Roscoe can enjoy this as well. Be blessed and a blessing.